so young at the time, but where they've grown in is that team defense. I mean, they're really, really hard to score against when they're connected. So, and the other thing they do such a great job is they create runs. And so again, for us, we've got to take care of the ball. I had a former player say the best form of defense in this game is to not turn it over. And he's probably right. Because if we give them easy baskets, that's what they thrive on.
When you look at your team, a lot of folks obviously feel Kentucky, they should win this championship. They're the favorites, obviously. But talking to your team, they seem very relaxed. Do you think where you guys are going in this game is beneficial, that the fact that a lot of pressure isn't on your team?
I don't think we look at it like that. I don't think we look at pressure that way. I think if these players were to live up to outside expectations, we'd have never done anything at the beginning of the year. I don't think, and that's the way this program's going to be. I think we've got that from here on out. It's not about others' expectations. It's about what they believe they can do. It's not about proving people wrong. It's about them believing that they're right and proving that they're right, that they can play. And so to me, we're not trying to self-inflict pressure just like we weren't at any other time in the season. It's really about your mindset and are you practicing well? Is your recognition good on offense, which leads to execution? Is your togetherness and talk good on defense, which leads to stops? And so that's what our focus has been. We're not living in the outside world of it, not living in the hype of it. It's very much about getting ready to play a really good team. Yep.
How have you guys gotten better, Tom, since that December day?
Well, I think we were young too, and they were a young team. We were a young team. We were just learning how to win. They were learning how to play together. I think both teams are significantly better. I don't think you get to this point without your team getting better and playing well at the right time. So we have a better understanding of each other on the court. They definitely know how good Cody Zeller is on our team and how many different things he can do in the sense of not only scoring but in delivering the ball and creating for other people. We've always tried to make sure that player development was at the crux of everything we did, and it's always been a huge selling point in recruiting. Going back to Marquette, I don't think it's any different with this team. Guys just continue to get better, and we don't have guys that have big ceilings. I mean they have high ceilings, I should say. They don't have low ceilings. Now Kentucky's, there's maybe not a team that's got a higher ceiling that they have when you look at the individual talent they have, and I think they've improved tremendously too. But our guys really continue to understand, I think, what makes them win, what causes you to lose, and they're making a lot better adjustments on how to get out of those negative things than they were early on. That's a big area of improvement for us.
Tom, you mentioned after last weekend you guys were locked in. Do you still feel like they're locked in heading into this one?
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think there's probably many teams inside of the 16 that are left that wouldn't feel the same way. Yeah, our guys are very focused. But they've been that way all year. It's not anything they just grow, and when they get into, there's no question at the end of the VCU game, the last 6-7 minutes, their focus and their understanding of what it was going to take to win the game, that's locked in at another level. And that's exactly what it's got to be, and we've got to work to have the same thing tomorrow night.
Tom, 7 of the teams that are still standing geographically are within about 200 miles of each other. What does that say about basketball in the Midwest?
It says that high school coaching and summer coaching is tremendous, not only in the Midwest, but for the people that recruit nationally. And I think that's something that's probably not being given enough credit. I know we've got some really, really well-coached guys, and I think the other programs could say the same thing. It's an area that loves sports. They support their teams in a big way. And again, I mean, you could look at it differently. You could see the different regions and the brackets and the matchups, but it's a special time, for the people in that region. And really, it's great. Like I got a text from a friend of mine that's the head coach at Henryville High School. And if you know anything about what's been going on in Indiana, Henryville has just been devastating. There's a lot of Indiana fans in that town. There's a lot of Louisville fans. There's Kentucky fans. They've all got something to look at. I don't think that can be undersold. I think that's a big deal. And to me, there's a lot of people that really love their program and they support it. And I think that helps.
What are some of the guys about watching the film of the first game? They referenced the 10-point lead and what you did wrong, to make the game closer. I mean, did you want to harp on that? Is one of the good things that you did?
Well, we harped on that first. When we looked at our ending back in December, and we looked at our last minute, Then we flipped it right over to the last 7.5 minutes. We spent our time on that. And as dramatic as it was of a win, as great as it was, and what it's done for the program, for the university, that's tremendous. But we had our opportunities to put that away. Now, what will that do in this game? Who knows? But they know that they could have played better. And I think that's what you're always trying to get across to your team. My job and our job as coaches is not to just praise them for what they're doing well and correct what they're doing wrong, but really, really show them where improvement could be made, where momentum could have been captured, where momentum was given up. That's what you're really trying to show them.
Coach, how do you?
I'm sorry.
What were some of the things that went wrong?
That was the last 7.5 minutes. We shot the ball too quick, and we didn't guard the dribble nearly as well, and we stopped attacking the way that we were. But we just got a little. We didn't continue to execute at the high level we needed to.
Coach, how do you view this?
Giving you what you had hoped for since Verdell went down?
Oh, absolutely. In that sense, that Remy Abel's going to be a very good player, and he's just early on. He's done a great job in this team. We had some veteran guards that really improved, but what we saw in Remy when we recruited him has come to life. I mean, he's got great speed and quickness. We didn't know he'd have the strongest lower body legs on the team. He does. He gets to the rim. His decision making is getting better. He's done a great job of improving defensively and getting through screens, and he was well coached. But he's come to this level and really started to grasp the speed of the game. So I'm not trying to say that he's replaced Verdell. Verdell scored almost 1,400 points. Started a lot of games, played probably 120 games, maybe close, give or take, somewhere in there. So I'm not saying that, but in light of the situation of losing a guy as good as Verdell, Remy's done a very good job. Dustin,
I was going to say, Coach, how do you view this game as different in terms of defending it? I guess. I mean, obviously, not to give away.
I lost the first part.
Defensively, how do you guys approach this different? Obviously, not to give away state secrets, but you don't have Verdell. You know, you have used Remy more. Basically, how does that kind of just change the dynamic?
Well, again, this team is so good that if you think there's one way to beat them, you're probably going to be wrong.
Yeah.
And I have not seen a team that's had any sort of success even being in the game with them. Let's try to play them one way. I think that's a recipe for a nightmare. And so you've got to be really. Now, that being said, the game dictates it. It's what you have going into the game and what you have ready and what they're confident that they can do and execute that's important. And then the game dictates that for itself. So a lot of it we'll just have to wait and see. But we're going to have to be great defensively. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But at the same time, you got to score points against them. I said this in the other room. I mean, their field goal percentage defense is for real, and their rebounding margin and all those things. Those are really strong things for them. And so the game's got to move. I mean, we cannot let them dictate pace and tempo, and we can't let them just dictate style of play.
How good has Verdell done in the kind of coaching role in the last couple of weeks, having to be on the bench and getting guys on?
Well, I think he's just a grown man. I mean, he just is. I mean, he's excellent. I mean, he's right there. He's one of the guys. He's a teammate, but he'll point things out in film. But he always talked in film. You know, there's really not been much change. What's so proud for him and for somebody that has worked so hard to be in the position he's in to get to this point, and to not be able to go out there and physically do something about the game. He's really trying to do it mentally, and he's trying to do it through his teammates. And the way he's grown up over the last 4 years, I'm not surprised at all, but it is phenomenal to see.
How important is three-point shooting given Davis guarding the basket?
Well, I think what you see right now is that some teams, they're not aware that Davis can cover a lot of ground. So all of a sudden you see blocked three-pointers and you see him coming out and changing shots. I think three-point shooting is always going to be a factor for us. You know, not just because we're playing Kentucky, but it's going to be a factor for us. But more importantly, the ball moving and people moving is more important than any one aspect of the game, whether it's at the rim, whether it's mid-range, whether it's foul line, or whether it's three-point shooting. We've got to move.